Any man of age deserves a good, satisfying and pleasurable sex life, and his partner deserves satisfaction too. However, there are times when this is not the case, and that is where the silent struggle and loss of intimacy begin. Let us begin with Saiden Brown, a 38-year-old man from Makwasa village in the area of Traditional Authority Jangata in Choro district. His story mirrors that of many others. Brown says he embarked on this journey after his girlfriend complained that she was being left unsatisfied in bed.
What happened is that I had a girlfriend, so we decided to have sexual intercourse. After the sexual encounter, the girl told me that she wasn't impressed. That made me feel down.
That moment of rejection planted a seed of doubt inside him. Like many men, he wanted to prove his worth, so he turned to what seemed like an easy solution. Saiden's experience is common. He bought Rising Power from a pharmacy in Chigumula, Blantyre, without a prescription.
These drugs are available all over. You can go to any pharmacy and you will find them. For example, when I was staying in Chigumula, Blantyre, I used to buy drugs called Rising Power.
But what exactly is driving men like Saiden to these drugs? To answer that, let us first understand erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction is the inability to achieve or maintain an erection firm enough for satisfying sexual intercourse. For many men, it is a natural part of aging. As men reach their 60s and beyond, blood flow decreases, hormones change, and conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and stress can contribute to the condition. In a country where open conversation about sex remain rare, this natural change often becomes a source of deep shame. Instead of seeking medical help at hospitals, many men walk into pharmacies looking for quick solutions through drugs such as Viagra and Cialis. This choice, according to mental health specialist David Chomba, is costing lives.
It's a worrisome situation, as far as the practice side is concerned. We are not receiving enough patients. We only hear from social media or media houses that no, this one has died because he did this. Even big people, educated people are doing the same thing. And we are losing important people, young men. Energetically, productivity, we are losing them because of going through the window instead of using the proper channel of getting assistance. So this thing, the assistance is in the hospitals. There are a lot of sexual disorders that are supposed to be managed by the medics in various health facilities.
This concern is backed by statistics. In the first half of 2026 alone, police records show that 42 men died suddenly, with health experts linking the fatalities to the misuse and overdose of unregulated sexual enhancement drugs. Among the latest reported incidents are a 48-year-old businessman who collapsed at a rest house in Chilimba, Blantyre, a 30-year-old mechanic who died at a lodge in Lumbadzi, Lilongwe, and a 48-year-old man who died in Doa district. However, regarding the conduct of pharmacies, the law is clear. Joseph Josiah, Public Relations Officer for the Pharmacies and Medicines Regulatory Authority, explains the regulations.
Sexual enhancement drugs or medicines or allied substances, these are categorized as the prescription-only medicine. The medicine can only be dispensed upon production of a valid prescription. The client or a patient must have a valid prescription which they take to a pharmacy to purchase the medicines. Without a prescription, the medicine should not be sold.
According to Josiah, these drugs are not intended for recreational sexual performance.
Sexual enhancement medicines, they are indicated for management of a specific disease condition. They are not a social drug. You don't use them as a social drug or something that you use for pleasure. They are meant to treat a particular disease condition.
However, he says there are penalties for pharmacy owners who fail to comply with the law.
There are a number of penalties which we impose if someone is found selling medicines without prescription. There are regulatory sanctions that are undertaken. If we find you, we may close the pharmacy, we may close the medicine store, we may invite you for disciplinary action, and the sanctions range from suspension to revocation of a license. So it's something that we take seriously as a regulator, because at the end of the day, we have a duty to protect public health.
In Parliament, the issue has not gone unnoticed. Anthony Masamba, chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Health, shares what the committee has observed.
There's lack of awareness on what men should do when it comes to sexual practices. For example, it is not a hidden secret that when men hit 55, their sexual acumen become low. They experience erectile dysfunction and what have you. And because of that, some men resort in having these sexual enhancement drugs.
Masamba says there is a need to develop clear guidelines on the procurement and management of sexual enhancement drugs.
The problem in our anyone can walk into the pharmacy and buy a drug without even showing the prescription. I think what we need to do now as a country, we need to push for guidelines where any patient or any person should not be able to buy drugs from drugstores or pharmacies without showing prescription. In other countries, you cannot be allowed to buy drugs from the pharmacy if you don't show them prescription. That prescription helps the pharmacy to give you the right drugs based on what the doctor might have prescribed the patient.
Weighing in on the discussion is Christopher Msuku, a sexual and reproductive health rights advocate who believes the solution begins at home.
God created marriage for two people to enjoy and be blessed with his children. And therefore, men should be learning to keep their marriages and be faithful to their wives, because they would not be motivated to use any sexual enhancement drug, because their wife knows how they perform and they are contented. Should they face problems together with their wife, they should seek medical personnel, which will lead to subsequent relevant prescriptions from medical personnel.
And Kenneth Mtago, a sexual and reproductive health rights campaigner, is calling for greater openness.
We need to get more information on this kind of drugs. Such kind of drugs are not used as returnable. A lot of people in our countries, they feel whether they go for Canada, they go for whether the same applies. They feel that they are not energetic enough to perform sexual duties. Probably they tend to use this particular drug. As a country, we are not open to talk issues of sex matters, but this is a high time, because if we want to talk, we are going to need men that can support the development of our country.
Concurring with Mtago is Watson Shower, Executive Director of Men Arise Now.
Men normally go into marriage literally ignorant about sexual activities. So I think as society we need to come up with a program that can be educating them on how to go about it rather than just telling them how to put on a condom. Men must be made aware to realize where their strength stops and also understand that as they are aging, their power reduces, and that is normal. To better understand the trend, cultural expert Anthony Mtuta looks back at the country's traditions.
These scenarios were less when the traditional moral settings and the structures were strictly followed. You find that initiation rites played a very great role on the issues that are to do with sex. But they have been not promoted, but always thought that they are archaic, they promote other things. So when somebody talk about initiation rites, it is associated as if you're doing a bad thing.
Health expert Dorothy Ngoma is blunt about the dangers.
When we are talking of use of sexual enhancement drugs, these are chemicals. It is really stupid for anybody to do things that will cost their life. So it is very unfortunate, but the men should not hide behind issues of rights, because if they are talking about the right to having sex or impressing somebody, and they are doing that at the cost of their own lives, that is really stupid.
However, public health expert Professor Adamson Muller questions the gap between regulations and their enforcement.
There are various sorts of things that people can go to a pharmacy or a drugstore and buy without the prescription of a medical doctor. So the question would be on the regulatory platform, what are the regulations saying, what is the guidance? And the guidance is not clear. That could be making some of the pharmacists think that they can dispense of these medicines, while the harms that have been reported, many people have potentially died, basically.
So, how can the country address this crisis? The story does not have to end in tragedy. As the experts have pointed out, men must seek proper medical care because erectile dysfunction is often a warning sign of underlying health problems. Hospitals should be the first point of care. Society must also teach men that aging is natural. With greater awareness, stronger regulation, and the courage to speak openly, the nation can protect its fathers, husbands, and sons. For MIJ FM News in Blantyre, this is Aubrey Kalumpha.